Yay?
Yay.
Happy yay?
South Shore, where the sun shines, golf carts roam, and accidents happen. But your roof, that should be the least of your worries. Steadfast Roofing brings you the best roofing systems, providing you protection even against the toughest storms. For a roof that stands strong through anything, choose Steadfast. Get the protection you deserve. Call now for your free inspection.
Hey, good evening.
Welcome to.
Actually, wait, we still got the music going on. We got a double track.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Setting the vibe.
Need one?
Oh.
Need a light?
Hold on.
Nope, she's still
Echo's
lit.
gone. There we go.
Echo's gone. Hey, good day. Welcome to South Shore Live.
From beautiful Apollo Beach, South Shore, Florida. Let's give it up for beautiful. Daylight
Absolutely.
savings time here is gorgeous, huh?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
It's like
I love the mornings right now.
yeah, Sunset Cruise,
Right?
3 p.m.
That's all right.
It's now a lunch menu.
That's when you know the snowbirds are in town.
Oh
The
man.
happy hour happens at 3 o'clock.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
How you guys doing?
Hey, Julia.
Hey.
We are here in like I said, Apollo Beach. We've got Julia with us. We've got
But
my
hey,
friend
before we
Angie.
get started,
Oh,
I got to do that disclaimer.
Yeah, we have to get to the disclaimer.
So I want to do that. So of course Julie's going to be like, Teo, just rush through it. So anyway, hey, this is entertainment purposes only. Don't blame us. The opinion is our opinion, each individual, not as a group. And we all have different opinions. Some are the same, some are different. But don't blame us if you go to McDonald's and get a hot coffee. But didn't somebody just get a record?
We're not a
Another
responsibility
coffee
for
spilling.
For real?
Yeah, it was like $14 million.
No, it was like
or something.
$93 million.
Yeah, it
Well,
was like 93
it was
million.
crazy.
I thought that was a
money.
long
I
time
will tell
ago.
you
But
this. when
anyway, hold on. Let's finish
Hold
the
on.
disclaimer. So don't
ahead.
blame us if you fuck around and find out. It's not our fault.
We're not responsible for your
So-
stupidity. This is for entertainment purposes
Yeah,
only. We
burn
want you
something.
guys to have a good time. We'd love you guys to tune in and take over, Teo. What
Well,
you got?
Yeah.
real quick on the McDonald's thing, it actually isn't the fact that they got burnt. It's the temperature, which is illegally hot, because when you do serve safe, there is a temperature you are allowed to max out at, and they go over that temperature by like many, many degrees, like 20, 30 degrees,
Straight out steam coffee.
where you're going to hurt someone, and they don't care, so they got to pay.
cold liquid food.
All
I
right.
thought that was a long time ago.
They just didn't know.
Well, good evening, Julia.
they
How you
don't.
I
doing?
go what they cared. They
I'm
just
doing
didn't know.
great. I want to know why they can't get the darn ice cream machine fixed properly.
Yeah, what is that about?
All right.
You know that
Can we bring Julia up a little bit?
I don't do that stuff. I don't eat fast
She's
food
got to
at
get
all.
closer to her mic.
But I had to laugh.
You hear me?
I had my one of my clot surgeries and a little bit of chemo for skin cancer. I was feeling bad, so I wanted to go to McDonald's and do a shake.
Why would you go do that?
And well, because it was convenient. And the milkshake factory didn't exist then.
Okay, that makes total sense now.
And
Shout out
and-
to the milkshake factory.
and this was one of
And
those
the
things
Dubai
where
chocolate.
it was like right when school got out, and I go to the line to order a milkshake, and of course they don't have a milkshake, right? And so I'm like, well, do I want something else or whatever? And this lady behind me, this was my post that then went viral after the fact, like 10 years ago or 5 years ago. The lady behind me started screaming and bitching and everything else.
Shocking at McDonald's.
You know? So I got up, so I ordered so when the shake machine was done, I ordered an ice cream cone, which that didn't work. So I ended up getting like an apple pie.
Yeah.
And which I'm probably still feeling the pains from it.
You're probably
but,
right about here.
But I actually bought the lady's
last
food
time.
behind me
Oh, that was nice.
and took it and left and gave it to the homeless guy on the curb. And she had to go back around with like 5 screaming kids in the minivan. And
You always find a way to be so sweet and then go, but.
but there's always a clunk at the end.
You
I
thought that
fed
nice,
I fed a homeless person.
right?
But you made him
But
sick.
you cost a family of
But it was
5 their
funny
lunch.
because
That's what I fed the homeless
I posted
And the
that,
homeless person got a heart attack.
and then that story has gone viral over and over again. People are like, oh, I did this. I'm like, oh, you guys, that's epic because I did that. But anyway, I don't
Taylor, love
know.
your stories.
The ice cream machine never works. So
I
what's
just
going on
wanted
there?
ice
Man, is that a
cream.
grand piano? Let's fire up some Billy Joel.
I know, I can, right? I wish I could play.
Oh,
You got a piano?
me no.
No.
I don't. I want one.
No,
I
I
know
just
it
hit
looks
things
so
with time.
nice. Angie, are a lot of the houses that you guys have, most of them have a piano? I would think in Mira Bay they do. This
You
big
can-
grand entrance.
We don't see them very often. 'Cause
It is standard practice, and
houses are so open now that there's not like dedicated space for them like there used to be.
We
Yeah.
grew up. We had a piano when I grew up. Of
And
course,
they're
my
not easy to
sister,
move.
you
And
know,
so a lot of people leave them
yeah.
wherever they're at because they're just so difficult to move.
now
Wow.
it's very hard
They're
to
beautiful.
find a person who can tune them.
They
It
It's
is.
a
Yeah.
lost art.
their clock, right?
Yeah, definitely lost art. That pinball machines, clock makers, there's just mechanical jobs that honestly, Casio has fixed all that for us. That's the
Yeah.
Well, and I got to tell you, that goes to kids coming out of high school that don't maybe want to go to college. These are
Mhm.
trades they can make a lot of money in
Oh, yeah.
because
We're,
no one
we're,
else
we're,
is there.
we're going to talk about that at the economy thing because I want to talk about that if we go into the SNAP discussion
But
towards
first
the
of
end.
all-
But let's talk about the finance stuff. And,
Yeah,
and
what you got for us?
What do you got there, Julie? And
So-
tell us about yourself.
Julia, why don't you, sorry. Why don't you introduce yourself and what you do?
So my name is Julie Ramirez, and my husband and I are the finance team. We specialize in helping people save money and figure out where to start, or where they're at right now if it's still meeting their financial goals and dreams. So I think right now, one of the biggest things is everybody's trying to figure out, gosh, how can I invest money when I can barely put food on the table? Is a big thing. And so obviously we're helping a lot of people just try to figure out where to cut costs, right? What can we do to battle inflation? I've been seeing a lot of clients with 2 or 3 jobs, maybe a business, maybe a job. it's been really interesting. You know, a lot of people have lost their job recently and they're starting over rebuilding, or they just recently divorced. You know, it seems to be the season of people just starting over and just trying to figure out how can I survive now, and then not really thinking about obviously building for the future. So
I have a question about that.
Sure.
Because I actually did a post on this the other day. There was a Boker's Corner talked about how Chipotle and stuff is talking about how people are spending less, and is budgeting part of the deal? I mean, this is the thing that has been shocking to me. Is I grew up in my father was a business and economic professor, and you know, when I got my paper out, you know, he took 25% of my $3 a week to charge me rent for using his house to, you know, fold the newspapers and all that.
I'll take $2.25 rent.
And then he took 75 cents a week out of that $3. And then, you know, okay, you need 25 cents a week to pay for your rubber bands. You need $1.
Totally priorities. What do you need?
And I learned that as a young age, and I thought my father was a dick for that.
Yep.
Now, you know, like when the hurricanes happened, I was shocked that 90% of the people I talked to did not have $30,000 or $40,000 in their hurricane liquidity fund.
I mean, if you're
that
working
comes
for your
with
life
buying a house
for
on
50
the
years,
on the thing,
you have got to hope that somebody has told this person who's been working to save a little money.
It's supposed to be 6 months, and they're not saving 6 months. They're literally going into debt. That's the cycle. They
got to have the iPhone. They got to have the iPad. They got to have, you know,
streaming services.
I posted this the other day. I have a friend of mine, and I love him to death. He was not the brightest bulb on the tree growing up, right? I mean, he was held back, and about a year and a half ago, he posted he just got a raise to $18 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay. So you got a guy that has never made, the most he's ever made in his life is $18 an hour. And he's 62 years old. And his car's paid for.
Priorities.
His house is paid for.
Sure is.
Yep.
Can't comprehend an iPhone. What's wrong? I got a cell phone. It's a Droid. You know, it was $49. I can do Facebook on it, and I can do Snapchat, and I can send email and surf the web. Once a month, they do a special go out to dinner, him and his wife. And it's not, I mean, when we go out, you know, they don't comprehend a place like Cooperstock. When my father passed away, I went up, I said, we're going out. And the gal's like, you know, man, I'm like, whatever you want. She goes, well, I've never had prime rib at a restaurant before. I'm like, you're getting prime rib. But they live within their means, and they're probably better off at his $18 an hour salary than 90% of the people, because he doesn't have the big flashy house. You know, he buys used furniture. He's very, he learned to live at an early age within his means. And they raised a couple of kids. And I look at the people in Mirror Bay and the cars and stuff. So
he lived in a time where you could live off one household salary.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's pretty much mandatory for you to keep up with the Joneses, to have you and your wife working.
If you keep up with the Joneses, the problem is everyone's got to have the Netflix and Hulu.
But back then you didn't have
and
that.
Amazon.
Yeah.
That's right. But they still don't. And they chose to not do that. And I look at these, one of my best friends, every year he had to buy his daughters the newest iPod.
Mm-hmm.
And they aren't cheap. And so he's like, I go, oh, so you get the old one? He goes, well, yeah. He goes, I get the hand-me-down. And, you know, every year he's buying his daughters. So his kids are now grown up
and
with
now
this,
they expect to have that mentality too.
They get a brand new car.
And a $9 coffee in the morning on the way to school.
Yep.
Well, Teo, my husband does that with our daughter. My oldest is 20, and he would collect the rent and just show her how to budget. But we taught her really early along, you know, about saving and investing early. And she's done really great with it. But I used to get upset with him. He'd take the rent money from her or the phone money or whatever. It's not even rent, but he'd say, hey, give me a portion of your paycheck for your phone or whatever. But then when she left for college, we kept all that money and just gave it back to her.
Right back
I got mine back as well
Don't
from
tell
my
my
father.
son.
Is when I went to college,
Your son's baby.
my father gave back. When I cut the lawn, I come in, he goes, how much you get? I said, $1.50, for cutting that lawn. It was a bitch. He's like, I'm taking 50 cents. And he had it all written in a journal.
Mhm.
And, I ended up getting like, I don't know, $2,000-$3,000 when I went to college. And it was funny because we were kind of estranged. I had left high school, I dropped out of high school and had left and then came back and
There's no money.
he gave me the money when I went to college. So I commend you and your husband
We
for
did
doing
that with our daughter, then gave it to her towards her down
Towards
payment.
her
Yeah,
house.
for
Yeah.
house. Yep. People
have
aren't
questions for you.
teaching that in school. I don't know if you guys know, but they're not teaching anything about financial literacy or budgeting. These kids are graduating
Home
and they
ec.
have no
Yep.
home
They
ec,
have no
nothing.
concept.
No concept whatsoever.
No
And
kids that don't know how to use a can opener, dude.
But they don't even know how, and they don't know how to apply for a job.
They
Or
can't
even
I'm
sign
Some
their
parents
name.
go with them on the job interview.
They
Yeah.
literally
Parents fill it out for them.
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
sign their name to a checkbook,
They
which
can't.
means they also can't sign for a mortgage.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. My son is going to college for finance,
Yeah.
and I've had him meet with a lot of different financial people to talk about things. And I am blessed that he gets finance and money. And people, I had my house on the market for a while, and people laughed and said, "Is it your teenager that has all the financial books? The Rich Dad
Yeah.
Poor Dad and the Philosophy of Money and all?" And I said, "Yeah, that's what he reads himself." But
Michael J. Fox.
he
That's it.
actually said to me the other day, and I'm wondering if you go through people's budget and show them where they could cut out, right?
Yeah.
Because two things. One, he said to me, "Mom, you have no idea how many of these kids that have the meal plan that us parents are paying for them."
Yeah.
Which I'm like, let me remind you, that means you have a private chef and they're making like 17 different meals to choose from.
And it's
I'm
good
into
restaurants.
one, right?
Some of them are like the meal plan
Yeah.
is go to Chick-fil-A, go here, go there, go to Chipotle. It's all
Yeah.
different
So
now.
I said, don't
Wow.
tell me you can't eat at school, because
Yeah.
you got chefs cooking for you now. So
You don't.
utilize your meal plan, right? But he said to me, he goes, "You'd be amazed how many kids DoorDash every day."
Yep. That's
And they
true.
DoorDash
Jesus.
coffee, they DoorDash snacks, they'll DoorDash cookies, and they don't think twice.
And they don't hit their
And-
card.
And I said, do you know how much that costs every single time that's delivered? And half the time when I was there one day, they deliver it to the dorm, and then if you don't pick it up in time, someone coming in just grabs it.
Oh, they grab
you
your
know?
stuff.
And then you call and
Yeah.
say they didn't deliver it, and they got to deliver it again. But I don't,
It's
I don't think these kids
$6.25
have a
delivery fee.
concept of how much convenience now costs, right? Because
Yeah.
they're just so used to doing it. And I was
Or
on a
having it done
cruise.
for them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the parents, I think parents want to be people's friends now instead of parents, and do what our
Yeah.
parents did. And even when I was on a cruise, I was asking a guy in the casino, and I'm like, "Hey, are your kids having fun?" Because we were over in Greece, and I didn't know if my son would, be into the architecture and all that yet, so I didn't bring him. And he said, "Oh my God, they're so bored. And they just want to know when they can get DoorDash delivered." And I'm like, "What?
They got room service.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
24/7 food. Like what? That's all that matters, right?" So I guess my question to you is, one, do you sit down with people to say, here's where some areas where you could be saving money? Because I think it's become the norm to just order DoorDash, or the norm to run out and get food all the time and not cook
And
at
buy
home.
cars you can't freaking afford.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
what I
Every-
do
When your
Yeah.
kid's first car is a Mercedes, that's not a really good benchmark to follow up with.
But
It's
if
very
you
tough.
look at Sumner parking lot, a lot of them are driving really nice cars, you know?
Right.
So, so what, to answer your question, we do that, but not with everybody. Because not everybody's open to that, right? So one of the
Right.
first things is we email them a budget. And I typically know if we're going to work with somebody or not, especially if they're saying they need help, because they either send that budget back or they don't. And if they don't send that budget back to me, and this isn't everybody, most financial people will just sit down and give them, advice on building wealth. But we have an extreme right now where people need to learn where to cut cost.
Correct.
So they'll do the budget. I'll skim through it if they send it back to me, right? If they send it back, and we'll look and see, hey, maybe I can network them to somebody local that can maybe help them shop home and auto and see if they can lower their rates, right? And I talk to
Or
them
spend
about
$4
things
every day.
that
Where
we
do you see? I was going to say, where do you see the most waste?
Oh, for sure. They just swiping the card, and most of it's just going out to eat. And food is expensive. And my
Crazy
daughter said that when she was working out here at one of the local restaurants, she said people don't even tip as much because they feel that because the food's so expensive, they don't need to tip, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, why even go out if you're not going to tip?
Right.
Just order
The
takeout.
problem is they blame. I've noticed this in the groups is Sarasota. There was a huge discussion. People are like, "Oh, it's so expensive." I'm like, "Dude, do you not understand the cost of rent
Mhm.
on the
Through
buildings?"
Through the roof for 5
when,
years.
when we bought our office building, our rent was $4,000, or not our rent, but our property taxes were $4,000 on the building a year. When we sold it, it was $37,000.
How do you build that into a product? Let's say you're a baker.
Your
donut went from 10 cents to $1.10.
We own the building outright, right? Imagine somebody with a $1.8 million loan
Mhm.
and $3,500 a month on property taxes
Squeezed out.
and insurance. And people are like, well, geez, they want $8,000 to rent this, they want $8,000 in rent for this restaurant. And I'm like, that's a fucking deal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, considering somebody has to have the money to buy the property and own it, but just the taxes, insurance, the
But they
CAM
don't think
fee.
about that, Teo. They're like, oh, I'm
No.
going to be a business owner, and they have no idea. When I do also the business consulting too on that side with the financial, they have no idea what it takes to be able to launch their business financially.
And we see that.
So now they're leveraging home equity lines on their home. And I said, what happens if your business tanks? Yeah, what happens if the business tanks? Now you're personal, you're losing your house now. Now where are you going to go? What's your backup now? Do you have 6 months of savings? I don't know. It just surprises me, the concepts that just aren't
I
there,
think the scary thing is
that people are dealing with.
we've gotten away from money, right? Like we
Credit.
grew up, we had dollar bills in our hands, and if it wasn't in your pocket, you didn't spend it, right?
Yeah.
My money was
This-
stashed behind my
Okay.
turntable.
One of the few people that's probably in the room that has cash.
So I have cash. And here's the reason why I have cash is because at the beginning of the month, I take X amount of dollars of cash. And that is my eat out money.
Mhm.
That is my entertainment. If I go to the cigar lounge, if I go here or there. Now,
Maybe.
there
Can we
are
see if that's
some
real?
exceptions.
He's got a lot
Is that-
because
is that
today
real?
is only November 4th.
Exactly. So there's
Just throwing it out there.
there's about $800 in my pocket. But that
What's your
Not
funny
being
money?
Your bodyguard on the way out tonight. We discussed this earlier.
I have a gun in my back.
Yeah.
But no, I budget with cash.
Good
And
for you.
now, if we go to dinner for a special occasion or something like the other night, we end up taking somebody out. I put that on a card. But basically, I budget with cash because it's a real living thing instead of a credit card, which all of a sudden I turn around and go, where did this come
Debit
from?
card.
Jesus, that was $3,800. And the debit card, the same thing. So, but I'm a firm budget person.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult for me when I have people, and I had posted on it earlier, people are like, hey, can you loan me this? Can you loan me that? I need this. And by the way, I need, can you drive me the money, or I want to do some work. Do you have any extra work, but can I get paid now and I'll work later? And they've really gone overboard with the instant gratification and not comprehending what things cost. I don't think people know what
It's a
things
fix,
cost.
yeah.
No, but also too, I will say this, and it's quite noticeable. There is some certain gouging in all industries, it seems like right now.
Mhm.
I understand the costs have gone up and things have been a little shaky, but people have definitely taken advantage of some things.
To a certain degree, but I don't think I think the larger corporations are I think there's definitely gouging with the larger corporations. health insurance. What did we see?
mine is
Since
going through the roof.
Obamacare, the top
Mine's
5
gone up
health
20
insurance companies,
times.
they have an increased profit of $391 billion.
And they still can't figure it out.
And they still complain that the health insurance, they're not making enough
And
money.
they're not making enough
I'm
And
money.
they won't cover your needed
And-
medication.
Exactly.
Well, hopefully with
We ain't got time to talk about it.
But no.
Healthcare is
That's
unheard.
another day,
So-
another
So
10
what's the
hours.
investment strategy? What's the plan? What
The
should people
plan
be doing
is
here, Julie?
to set up foundations where, like right now, if you guys are feeling like it's lean, we need to go through that budget and really see where you're spending. And I know nobody likes to hear that, but that's where we have to start. Where can we save $20 or $30? The other day we went to cancel Frontier or something for Spectrum. And because we called them, they were like, "Oh, well, we don't want you to leave. We'll give you the plan for $50 less." I'm like,
we'll
"Well, why?"
make a
Yeah.
deal. It's harder to
Yeah,
it's harder to get a new customer than it is to retain an old
Yeah,
customer.
so call these people and shop your auto, shop your home. Like it doesn't
Shop your
matter.
phone bill.
Shop your phone bill. Get rid of the subscriptions. Like
Buy the phone.
buy
You know how
buy
many
the
people have
phone and
subscriptions
stop
and is it-
and stop leveraging yourself like beyond your means. I don't even know how these people are affording these homes now with the income that I'm sure they're making, 60, 70,000, 2-income household,
Well, and so this is me being cheap, right? So I follow this gal, Savings 101, Christina Morris, on Facebook, and she's a hoot, and I love it. And I started following her because she'll post the public ads on the BOGO, and that's
Yeah.
become a shopping list. And I only buy BOGO stuff at Publix, and then I shop elsewhere for the other deals. And so now I know that my Hulu expires this month at the end of the month, and I will wait because every year
Black Friday, right? They
Black
come out
Friday
with
Hulu
things.
comes out, and it's $99. It's $10.99 a year.
Yep.
So it's like 95 cents a month for Hulu instead of like $10.99.
You just create a new email.
Yeah, create a new email.
Yeah.
Well, but I own 4 companies, and
And
Yeah,
400,000 emails.
I have more than enough emails to do it.
So that is the tip of the night. Open a new email every time you want to reuse the offer. With that, we're going to take a break.
Yep.
And that is brought to you by Joanne Duran and Tampa Bay Sports Magazine.
Hang with us, Julie. We'll be right back.
Yeah, hang
Yeah,
tight.
no problem.
Yeah. So every November,
Oh, yeah.
I change. So I kill Paramount Plus, I kill Hulu, and
So I got to tell you, you got to get Apollo TV.
well, I have his TV.
Apollo TV is $159 a year, and you get everything.
So I have.
Not a month.
I know I have his deal. That's like $100 a year.
Yep.
But it's not nearly as easy for Stacy to navigate.
Web Design Ninja is your one-stop shop for all things internet. Our dedicated team has been building internet solutions for businesses large and small since 1993. We specialize in creating eye-catching designs, search engine optimization, complex e-commerce, and custom app integration. Whether you need a simple website or a complex e-commerce or phone app, our team of experts is here for you. Give us a call today. We're
MF Barbecue. Tasty, juicy, delicious ribs, brisket, and pork. Slow smoked overnight to be done fresh for you Thursdays to Sundays, right here in the South Shore area. Based out of Riverview, we are most often located at the Shell gas station at the corner of McMullen and Boyette Road. But since we are a food truck, we're mobile. Catch us at places like Flooring Master, Peter Ford, or Cigars on the Boulevard. Or even have us cater your next big event, from a graduation party to a birthday, or really just for the hell of it. Come hang out and try a special for the week, such as brisket chili or Texas Twinkies, and maybe even meet a special guest. Find us on Facebook and Google.
And we're back.
We are, huh?
I think so.
That barbecue looks
Yes,
amazing.
we are.
So, and just so you know, that is like 8 seconds behind.
Oh, well, it still looks amazing.
I know.
So we're here.
So
with Julia.
Julia, how are you doing, darling?
We're here
I
with
am
Angie.
doing great. I wanted to just
yeah, we have to talk to Angie too.
We're
gotta
here with
introduce
Teo,
Angie. I
Captain
cut that
Teo,
off, so
myself,
sorry.
the unknown drummer, Joanne Duran. And we're here back, and we're asking some questions on how we can tighten up the belt and navigate these waters. And Angie's got a question for you. Shoot.
So-
if you
Oh,
would
go ahead. I'm sorry.
cut some of their costs that you're doing and things like that.
Mhm.
If they can save $100 a month or $200 a month, and where would you suggest that they put that money so that it pays dividends for them?
So it all depends. I mean, every client is different. They might be in debt. It might go to.
I don't know. She can't hear us.
Can you hear me?
No.
Or we can't hear her. Sorry,
All right. Well, then I'll
sound
just
is
say
down.
You can mail it to Angie Richison. My address is.
yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Hey,
now we got
hey.
you. Okay, sorry.
So
we had
My bad.
we had a liquor run in the production booth.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed out on that. I might have to get myself something. But
Oh, you were invited.
Did you hear
So-
my question?
So just a couple of things, Angie, back to your meal plan, and I'll answer that really quickly. But some of those students, we did the math on if it made sense for them to have a meal plan with our daughter and just the amount of time she would be on campus. And it didn't make sense for us. Unfortunately, a lot of these kids just get the meal plan from their parents and they don't use it. So, these parents.
Or they sell it to their buddies.
Yeah, they sell it or they give them the card to use. I don't know how it works now, but it just doesn't make sense. So definitely if you have a kid in college, look at those things and see if you need to cut back on that next semester so you're not wasting money, because if they don't use it, they lose it, right?
So when
And
kids,
It's so important that mine realizes
so do
she's
kid
using it.
or does every kid, we got into this a couple years ago with a friend of ours when we were helping. They were like, "Oh, college is too expensive," and I'm like, "What about a roommate?" So every college kid basically has their own private room now.
Yeah, it's like apartment
Wisconsin-
style.
Wisconsin-
Not everyone. They have different dorm styles, but
Yeah,
my
it's just
daughter
weird.
lives in an apartment with her own room and
It
bathroom.
also,
Man,
It
we
also
had we had
depends,
four guys
too.
in a room. We
Yeah,
had two
quad.
bunk beds in one room.
Yep.
yeah, but it
Exactly.
also depends. Some schools you only get on campus housing for the first year, maybe 2 years tops.
Yeah,
Then
Yeah.
you have to go find your own apartment, or
yeah, but this
Like-
everyone.
Angie and I would suggest go buy a condo in the area and
Yeah, but
use it as
that's
a
the thing.
rental.
That's what the parents
Yeah.
should be doing. They
That's
should
what
be
I
paying
did
income.
when I was in
and
college,
the kid lived
Joanne,
there
is I
and-
bought a condo and I just paid
Absolutely.
that. It was cheaper than rent, and then sold it and moved to Apollo Beach. Unfortunately, my daughter's a transfer, so she's only going to be there for 2 years. So, but we did look down there, but
if it's in a good area, really close to the
We
school,
gotta bring yours down.
it is it's
Blowing yours
something
out.
that you can rent out later to other school students and become
Yeah.
your investment.
Yeah.
There's always
That's a
homecoming
great
weekend.
idea.
You can the place back.
So,
But
Landlord's
Angie, the thing to answer for you is that everybody's different. It could be that maybe they don't have an emergency fund set up, and maybe it goes towards that. Not all of the money that we can free up goes to investments, because we've got to be able to help them so they don't go back into the cycle of putting stuff on a credit card.
Credit cards paid off. I'm shocked at how many people have $8, $10, $15, $20,000 in credit cards.
More than that now we're seeing way more.
yeah.
God, I thought like 500 was bad.
And some of the neighborhoods I thought that were really wealthy, they are really, like, it would take one emergency and it would knock them out.
They're done.
So,
They're done.
He's going to finance, like I said, and I have told him this, and I actually told my nephew when he was selling cars, getting out of college, and I said, listen, if you look at a crowd of people, look for the guy walking in with blue jeans or shorts and a solid color shirt, right? Because the less flashy they are, most likely the more money they have.
100%.
People that flash the money they're sitting in credit card debt, right? And so my nephew called me one day and he said, hey, Ange, man, I just did it. And I said, what do you mean? He said, there was all these people. It was a Saturday. And I said, I'm taking that guy. And so he went out and met with him, and sure enough, paid cash for a very nice sports car, walked out that day with
Boom.
a car, right? Boom. And he's like, you were right. And I said, yeah, people that have the money don't want to be flashy, right? And they don't want people asking questions. But
it's a little different, Angie. Like when my husband does that, it's a little different of a reaction than when I do that. Like when I walked into a dealership and I wasn't all dressed up, they treated me like I had no money and I had cash, you know?
That's a female problem for sure.
Yeah.
But it actually is a guy problem too. When I was buying the hamster replacement, I got like nowhere, and I put on my Rolex, and then all of a sudden there's 45 people.
I thought you were going to tell me you dressed up like a chick and they came right over to you.
No, I could have done that.
I will tell you.
But you know,
What is
I dressed like a bum, and I'm like, well, I just want to pay cash. What's your best cash price? And they want to run me through the whole sales thing. Dude, you don't understand. This is a disposable car for me. I got my collector stuff that I'm building, or my emotional stuff, which is low cost. I mean, it's cool, but it's low cost. I'm looking for a daily driver disposal car. And it's funny they're like, well, I'm going to need to run your credit. And I'm like, I'm paying cash.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't want to finance,
Well,
it's a pain.
There's a lot of bullshit, especially you have to cut through in certain transactions.
Yeah.
Telephone transactions are one of them. Car purchasing transactions are one of them, because they run through so many people that just tell them so much bullshit. And when you go to your doctor, it's cut and dry, because you don't give your doctor bullshit. When you go to your lawyer, you don't give them bullshit. They charge. But when you go to a car dealer, oh yeah, it's only got 135,000 miles. The guy looks at it, dude, it's 195,000. Oh, well, we didn't build that into the deal. See, those transactions take time, and you whittle each other down.
Oh yeah.
So I will tell you this, and going to what Angie said, the first billionaire that I ever met, and it was back in the early 2000s.
One of my clients will just say.
It was. He was the man who invented the wet floor sign. He was a Vietnam veteran. We went to this party, and we were just hanging out, and I couldn't stand half the people because I'm not.
That's all it took. Wet floor sign.
There you go.
Got him rolling.
I'm not about the money.
Sold his
I don't
company for
care.
$2 billion after it was done
$2 billion.
conglomerating a whole bunch
Wow.
of companies.
So I'm in the room with all these people who typically are worth $2 to $5 million roughly, with one billionaire. I end up in the back patio.
Who are you there with, by the way?
I was with you, my love.
Thank you.
I was in the back patio with this guy. Why?
Just saying, Jill.
He had his best blue jeans on, his best cowboy boots, and his best flannel shirt, and he reminded me of my
Smoking
dad.
a cigar.
Smoking a cigar. I hung out with him in the back for hours, just listening to his stories. Why? He was interesting,
Yeah.
and he wasn't selling me anything.
And you probably know the name of the company. You saw their trucks up until about 2 years ago, all up and down the East Coast. It said the safety zone, and it was a little dude, a little safety hat,
Aw.
and you didn't think much about it. But he
Sweetest
started this
guy.
company right out of Vietnam, and then he started
Hey,
importing gloves and started building all these things.
And this goes back to McDonald's. He walked into a McDonald's after he got just fresh out of Vietnam, got back home. The floor was wet. They had just mopped it. And he goes, somebody should put a sign here. And the smart ass chick that mopped the floor said, well, maybe you should invent one.
And
I will.
And he came up with the A-frame,
Did.
the A-frame yellow
A-frame
sign that you
yellow
see
sign.
everywhere. That
And then he patented it.
and then he sold it to
Rubber.
Rubbermaid and sold it to
Best
Impact.
cowboy
And, yeah,
boots, best jeans,
yeah.
best flannel shirt.
And it's just like that.
Vietnam
That's the
hat.
entrepreneur way.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
the
on the
guy.
So,
Right.
so Julie, what are you seeing out there? Annuities, bonds,
I think
Yeah,
a
where do
lot
you see
of-
someone in their
stocks.
50s and 60s where they want to make some money, be safe, but when they have some money, right now you have it in a bank, it's making 3%. You put it in the market one day, it makes 20. The next day, it just lost 15.
we have some really good there, we have the annuities, of course, but we have where they have the upward, and the market's up, but they have the protection in case the market goes down. Annuities used to have a bad rap back in the day, and now it's so much different now. It's really become one of the vehicles that we, recommend for people that are older, to take advantage of. The other thing is that, managed accounts is another one where you actually have people that are watching your money every day, predicting where that money is going to, what the next move is going to be, and shifting your money, watching
so
it.
when it goes to crap, you pull it back into the bond market. And
Yeah, so they move that a lot. So it all depends on your risk factor. It all depends on what your goal is with the money. Right now, the biggest thing that I'm seeing is people are not thinking about their retirement. They're not paying themselves first at all. And they're just spending money on things that they probably could cut back on,
gotcha.
A little
25
self-gratification.
What?
A lot of some self-gratification, and I
Yeah,
kind of
and a lot of
who knows if tomorrow I'll be here, and I need, and
yeah. And I get that part of it because,
convenience.
my mom and dad, when they passed away, they were at the point where they're going to retire and enjoy all the stuff they worked hard for. And Tony's like in the book of, okay, let's save everything. So we try to balance each other out where you enjoy your life, but you also have something that you can fall back on. Because I don't want to go work somewhere in my 60s or 70s. I don't know what my health is going to be like.
I mean,
What scared me-
I got friends that, retired, and due to the Bidenomics, they ended up going back to work, 70 years old, working, 40 hours a week.
I remember pulling up
in the
to a
retail
red light
market.
in front of a movie theater and watching this dude pushing a cart, and I was like, man, I never want to be there. It's just not. I just can't do it. I can never see myself. I have to make sure that will never happen.
Yeah, it's just hard because one of the things is you want to budget, but you also want to pay yourself first, right? There isn't any other bill that's more important than yourself, right? And I don't think people realize that too.
Well, paying yourself first can be getting a treatment, health, mind, body, spirit.
What you mean by paying yourself first is putting towards your future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And-
Either your
and-
emergency fund or building up, we want to make sure that your house, just like in the hurricane, right? You want to make sure your house is protected. You want to make sure your financial house is protected no matter what life storm throws at you.
And that's a different, when I talk to people in business, and I see people in business and they're like, okay, they do a deal for 10 grand. So they immediately take, $3,000 for themselves.
Off the top.
And, that's going to pay for this. And then they're going to pay. And so they pay themselves first, then they pay their employees, and they pay their expenses. And at the end of the month, they have nothing left over. I do it differently. My employees are first. My expenses are second. My pay myself in her terms third. So money goes into savings, money into contingency plans, etc. Then if something's left over, then I actually pay myself, and that's the money for cigars, rum, scotch, my Mercedes convertible,
Business will be good. You
or
don't
my
run out.
boat, whatever. Business is good.
Good to hear.
I think
You know, it's all different and it's all customized based on what you guys want for yourselves. I can't tell you what's going to be, I can give you my recommendation, but maybe Teo, like there's people that don't want to leave money to their kids. They want to enjoy their life and cruise and travel and whatever. And we put together options for them too. But right now, a lot of people are getting laid off. They're struggling and they're just trying to figure out how to, cut cost. And like you said about the buy one, get one, it could be something as just getting that and maybe splitting it with somebody else that
Maybe
and
shopping at
sharing
a
it.
different store.
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
not gonna-
shopping at
I'm
a
not-
different store.
I'm not going to mention it by name, but it rhymes with Rublix. And let me tell you something. You can walk in there and a bag of Doritos is $7.99.
But
And
they
you're like,
have Hebrew National
They,
Salami.
yeah, so you gotta give and take. But when you can literally get the same bag of Doritos for $3.49, maybe you should get back into your car and go a half mile down the street.
When I do my grocery
If you
shopping,
need Doritos.
So we are now in the realm of delivery, which we have not been until my wife was really just too sick to go grocery shopping. And for me to do everything, it was kind of overwhelming. But we ended up on Walmart because of where they're at. But I do the weekly Publix run and I stock up the pantry. And then I go to Winn-Dixie and Aldi based on special stuff.
You got to play them all.
And it's literally one loop. I hit Publix, boom. Then I go down to Winn-Dixie, come up to Aldi, and I'm back in. And
New Walmart's going to be great for you.
oh, dude, it's gonna be awesome.
And best, let's be
and then,
honest, best
do
to
people-
order from Walmart.
Do people make a list?
Then go there.
I make a freaking list.
Oh, we have a list.
I make
There's
a list because otherwise I could easily. Oh, okay, I'm a Sam's Club without a list. Oh, it's like $700.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
Howard.
Dude,
Howard without
I'll
a
come
list
home with a
is-
parka from there if I don't have a
Oh,
list.
Oh yeah,
I do too.
I
I
will
don't make
say,
a list. I'm not a
when
list person.
I go away for
Costco,
like
I don't do
for
a
the
list.
I'm not either.
weekend for like some kind of music festival or thing that I'm doing for the magazine. My big fear is Howard went without a list.
Oh my gosh.
And what kind of crap
Come back with
food-
kiwis. I don't
can
eat
go without a
kiwis.
list. I just
Tell
can't go.
us next time so we
If
can
I-
police him.
I go
if we
hungry,
see
I'll-
him.
oh yeah.
Yes, I have a list. If it's
Yep.
and if I go alone, I go to what the list is and I come home. I do not shop. I do not
Well,
walk around.
now-
So here's what's funny is I'll sponsor people, right? So I'll somebody is in need or whatever, they're having a bad day. I'm like, let's go shopping, and in that scenario, I'm like, I buy all the shit that I won't buy. Our friend, you know
Honey
her.
bunnies.
She was like, really struggling with the job thing, and I'm like, so how much? What's your groceries? She goes, I'm on empty. I'm like, all right, that's it. And her electricity got shut off, and I'm like, all right, let's get it turned on, and then let's go shopping. And we went, and I'm like, I'm buying all the stuff. I'm like, you're good for freaking 2-3 months.
Mhm.
Because I want to
Remember
deal with it
Teo
next
when we
month.
did that Thanksgiving where we all bought like a family, like a Thanksgiving meal? I think
Yeah.
the Kings did one with us. I bought several of them, and some of the people were. I can think of 2 people out of the 5 that we did that were like, you know what, that Publix is too far for me. Can you put it to this one? Like they had all these like,
Can I make
What do you
another suggestion? Go to the co-op. If you want to
Yeah.
buy big
Yes.
food inexpensively, you spend $25 at the co-op, and you spend that same $25 at Rublix or Pin Pixie. Okay, you're gonna get half the amount of stuff,
Well,
and the
first
stuff
off,
at the
I
co-op.
don't buy produce at most of those stores.
Gotcha.
I'll buy produce at the co-op. The difference is sometimes I'll buy onions BOGO,
You can never have too many onions. I'm not gonna lie.
and because I do a ton of, and I buy
Much
garlic
better than salt.
at Sam's Club because the big thing of garlic, because I use that garlic. That's
So we got Angie with us,
Everything.
and Angie,
Yeah.
how was that cigar? Good.
It's good.
All right.
Long time since Teo and I smoked one together.
yeah.
And hopefully you will again. Also, there's some great events going on here coming up this week.
Oh, it's dead right now.
We got Cars and Coffee this Saturday, I believe, coming up.
Where's that at?
That's at
If
Board
it
of Said,
is,
I think it's this Saturday.
see, I got Veterans Day parade,
Well,
so
yeah, and
I'll
then
be
we have
skipping
that's
that.
here too. The Veterans Day parade's going on. What time's that on Saturday?
11:00.
Where's it start?
Down by the Firehouse Cultural Center,
Okay,
and it's coming north on just the one side.
the side where the movie theater's at.
I guess so, but it'll stop before
It's not going
19th.
through Ruskin anymore?
No, it's in Ruskin,
Okay.
but it's like Firehouse Cultural Center up,
Oh yeah.
and it's I don't know 6 or 7 blocks. I don't know. I think I'm like the third car or something. I have a 93-year-old dignitary from the Ruskin Women's Club.
Really?
Yeah, and
Are you
a
driving?
little old lady. I'm driving, and she's gonna be in the passenger seat. So I end up buying. I bought like 3 different seat cushions, because otherwise, when she's in the Mercedes, it'll be like I don't think she can see over the steering wheel. So
Gotta get her one of those old egg crates and put the cushion on.
we got. I bought a couple of those nice foam ergonomic cushions.
What
so we
music
can
are you
set her
going
in
to be
there.
cranking in that car with Grandma?
I don't know. No cigars. I don't think I'm being smoking a cigar
Yeah.
or cranking the tune.
She won't hear
oh,
it. For real. Just she put on
She's
like
gonna be living
Back
her
in
best
Black or
oh,
something.
so yeah. So we'll be in the old Roadster.
And then I believe Saturday night, Teo and myself are going to get to see
Emerson Lake and Palmer.
Emerson Lake and Palmer, great
Ooh.
band from
Whoop,
the
whoop.
70s.
Going to Ruth Eckerd Hall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I will say this, when it comes to people wanting to donate, as far as if you're into music, Ruth Eckerd Hall is a great place because they literally are trying to get all the money that they make goes to giving children musical education that can't afford it. So we might actually eventually get some good musicians out there.
That's pretty nice of them.
That's awesome.
So, but that's the key for Ruth Eckerd. That's where their money. They have an organization there. They have a program there, and they put students there. And it's great. Rather than saying, "Oh, we're going to do something with this money," and you don't know where it's going to, it's literally at their compound. That's where they have their school. That's where they have their events, and they bring in students. They also take care of, and they send instruments to other schools and places like that too.
They're a
Is
great
it-
organization.
Yeah,
Is
Ruth
there
Eckerd.
anybody taking donations for the SNAP or whatever,
Yeah, actually, Katea Alvarez,
Yeah.
Rising Phoenix Bookkeeping, posts on that today. She's been collecting. She's working directly with Echo in Riverview
Okay.
to pick up canned goods, and it's a lot of the peanut butter jelly, that kind of stuff, but also some stuff that people haven't thought about on that SNAP deal is people are doing like pancake mix and stuff like that, right?
Oh, okay.
But they still need Wesson oil.
Right. So I've
Oh.
heard too, a lot of people
to-
donate
to-
mac and cheese boxes. But
Yeah,
you still need
but
butter and milk.
You need
Mhm.
powdered milk.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
So
Good
So
point.
don't forget about the powdered milk. Don't forget. And you know what? And by the way, screw the regular milk. I grew up in college. I would go with my grandfather to the commissary, and mac and cheese was 10 for $1.
Loved it.
Okay. And powdered milk and a thing of Country Crock would last like 2 years. The big thing. Because it was, the stuff doesn't melt.
It's true.
True.
Because it's plastic.
It's
Super healthy for
it's
you, too.
one molecule away from antifreeze is margarine.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
leave
a-
my
Wow.
margarine.
Now
request
think about that.
lactose
But
intolerant
you can get
people.
the mac and cheese that the sauce is already done, and you just open it. and
Correct.
put it
That-
on, right?
You can
That
do
wasn't
that.
10 for
but,
a
but,
buck.
Cracker
but
Barrel one, by the way, is
No.
amazing.
They were like
Yeah.
2 for $1.
They are. They're more expensive.
they're way more expensive. But you know
you're trying
what?
to help, that is the
I'm
way to
a
go.
fan of pick up some powdered milk
Powder.
Right.
and
And you can get that at the dollar store,
And-
believe it or not, the powdered milk.
yeah, you get powdered milk at the dollar store. And one thing I want to mention, and this is me on the SNAP thing, is about 10 years ago, one of my employees overseas that worked for me in Romania, and she'd worked for me for about 10 years. And how I ended up hiring someone in Romania was a trip. But Romania added a 200% tariff on US. So if I sent her a laptop that was worth $800, we had to pay $1,600 in tariff
Wow.
to give her an $800 laptop. The same thing goes because she worked for an American. If I paid her $1,000, basically they would take 2/3 of that. So they would take $700 of that 500 of that $1,000. So if I send her a check for $1,000, the Romanian government would take 700 and some dollars out of it. And then, so she would get like $280. And then out of that $280, she still had her 60% Romanian taxes on it. So out of $1,000, she only got like 100 and some bucks. So we had set up an EU company out of England, a European Union company out of England. And then it was only a 10% tariff. So if I sent her $1,000, she got to keep 900, and then she paid her taxes on $900. Well, in order to do that, we had to fire her, right?
Rehire her.
And rehire her.
Wow.
So when she got fired, she was like, "Oh, I'm going to go get all my stuff." Right? Because now she's going to be unemployed, and she had to be unemployed for a month. There was some, we finagled it, but she had to be officially unemployed for a month. And so she got her government food, right? And she was all excited. And on Monday, I'm like, "How's it going?" She's like, "Oh, I'll be back in a little bit. I got to go get my food." Well, she goes down, and they have to go in person. Okay. So they got to go and they wait in line and they get their coupons. And then on like Monday and Thursday is like dry good and meat day. So you go to the dry good warehouse because you're not working, right? I mean, it's free food. So you got to go wait in line at the dry good thing, and you hand them your coupon, and you got a family of 4. So she gets a box: flour, sugar, salt, pepper, some spices, rice, beans, noodles, whatever, right? Basic stuff. And then she goes over to the meat, and she gets a box of meat, right? It might be chicken, might be pork, maybe some steak, maybe some rabbit, maybe some goat, lamb, whatever. But it's you get a box of meat for 2 weeks. And but that's what you get. And you know, if it's a turkey breast, you slice it for sandwiches, right? It's not you're not buying all this, you know, whatever.
You're not going with the list and recipes.
And then on Tuesday you go for, you know, your dairy and your vegetable stuff, right? And so you go to one warehouse to get your dairy stuff, and they give you a box. And that's what you get. You know, you don't get to pick whether it's cheddar or Swiss or provolone. You you get cheese. You get a block of cheese. You get a block of butter. You get a jug of milk or 2 jugs of milk or whatever.
You're not going to a store and swiping a card.
And then you go to the produce thing and you get a bin of produce, right? It might be broccoli, might be beans, carrots, potatoes, whatever. And you cook your meal with that. On Tuesday, the end of Tuesday, she goes, "I'm done being unemployed. I'm going back to work." Because it was such a nuisance to do this, that guess what? They don't have nearly the amount of people on SNAP that we have, because you don't get a card to go swipe at the pizza joint or McDonald's or Starbucks
and buy Snapple.
And you don't get to buy a cake or whatever. You can buy the materials. You get the materials to make a cake. I mean, she had everything where she could make a cake.
You got to cook it from scratch.
But you have time to cook from scratch because you're not freaking working.
I will say this: Feeding Tampa Bay is trying to help out with the SNAP benefits for people. As far as, like you said, they'll get a box. They're not going to get to choose what they get, but they're going to get a box.
That's what we got at COVID. Look at all of us that couldn't work during COVID, and all these different people provided, Alpha. Those guys organized it, and you went up and you got a box of food. You know, some was, and that's the way I believe we've gotten to the convenience deal where it's become accepted.
Well, to Julie's point,
and I think it's wrong.
Well, I think that your employee didn't have choices, right?
Yeah, they don't have a choice. That's how it works in every other country. In America, it's different. In America, you get a card and you can buy whatever, wherever.
But we're also geared to eating out, and especially now in these times that people are tighten your belt. Cook your own food, meal prep. You know, if you're making chicken,
it's now more expensive to eat out.
It is significantly more, I'm sure, to go out.
To go to Aldi, buy a salad, all the stuff for a salad.
Buy chicken.
I did it today. I forgot my lunch at home. So what did I do? I went and got chicken at Aldi. I went and got salad stuff, and I have enough for like 4 or 5 days of work, and it cost me under $8.
$8
But it would have been $8 to go to McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger
one
King.
time, and you're still not
for
hungry.
$20. I can get 2 racks of ribs.
Yeah.
I can smoke them with some beans, with some rice, and my wife and I get basically almost 3 meals out of it. We don't.
Made a London
There was
broil
a day
yesterday,
I would
finished 2
eat
days.
a whole rack of ribs.
Even
Now
our
I
puppy
don't.
gets-
I just see
well,
the Flintstones car falling over with you screaming.
That's the
at-
way
at
it used to
Stacy's.
be. That's the way it
It's
used
funny.
to be.
Howard's
But
talking about what we ate yesterday. It fed not only us but the dog.
Yeah, Charlie, 2 meals each, and
Charlie
Charlie made a
and
London
Charlie.
broil. The London broil was $8 or $9.
and then like tonight we do Chinese, and that's like that
It was
literally.
$60.
I know it literally is like a whole week's
It-
worth
Yeah.
of
Groceries.
groceries
It was.
for
it was
what we can
literally
do.
$60 for the 5 of us to eat tonight.
Yeah.
But it was a treat, and
But-
there you go.
But
But
it
back to
was a
Julie.
treat.
But back
But
to
like
Julie.
we
said,
do it
I
maybe
think-
once a week, not every day.
right.
Or
And
maybe
I
every
think
2 weeks.
Julie, I think if people could learn that they could be
More diligent.
more diligent and more fiscally responsible.
Frugal.
It breaks my heart to watch these people blow money
Mhm.
the way and it is blowing money. You might as well just light it on fire.
Or having GoFundMe's for something they should be able to do themselves.
yeah.
That drives me crazy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
insane.
And it's like,
We've
come
been
on, don't
invited-
get me wrong. If I needed help, I would ask. And I've tried my whole life not to be a burden. Okay. And shit happens. I get it. But needing a GoFundMe for your family vacation or needing a GoFundMe
For
because you got
education.
into a car accident because you were drunk. Please.
We had a friend that had a GoFundMe because their baby was born too early. That's
for
fine.
real.
Oh,
We had
there's
another
GoFundMe.
there's a GoFundMe right now for a gal who had her like 3rd or 4th kid with like the 3rd or 4th dad,
Baby daddies?
and she can't work, and it's like
Stop having kids.
cross your legs, man.
Wow.
Wrap that rascal.
Well,
I
to
don't
be
know.
honest-
Julie's eyes just went, wow.
Yeah.
We should
I'm gonna
replay
say
her
this.
eyes that time.
I'm going to say this outright because we had this conversation at my office. You do have a choice. The choice is to keep it closed or not keep it closed.
Yeah.
That's your first choice.
Wow. With that, we'll talk more about cars and coffee.
We might need a commercial.
No,
Well,
we actually we're like
I'm
done,
saying
but we
no.
got to talk about your real estate stuff. So let's jump over.
Let's
Angie,
tell
what's going
us
on with real
all
estate?
about real
'Cause
estate.
Yeah,
we're
we'll dive
way
right in.
whacked onto the whole finance economy. So
Yeah, no, it's all right.
that's my fault.
The question I get asked every day: how's the market? Right? The
Buy.
market is what you think it is.
If you're buying, it's pretty
If
good,
you're
right?
Buying, it's great. Yeah. So we all
Yeah.
know in our area here in the South Shore, we're in a buyer's market.
Absolutely.
100%. The pendulum is so far to the buyers, right? But what does that mean? That means it's the time to buy. So for all those people that are sitting out there saying, I'm waiting for interest rates, I'm waiting for interest rates, I don't know what you're waiting for.
Yeah, right.
Because
It's $16 more a month when you, or $22 more a month
Well, but
when
you
you
can
think about
finance.
it.
You can refinance down the
Of
road
course
if it
you
goes
can.
down. And by the way, even current rates are like I look
They're
back
at the
to
national average.
when I bought my first house. 9% was a great freaking deal.
We were at 8 point whatever,
We were
8.25.
happy.
If I told
I
you
refied
could get you
3 times.
399 on a 30-year fix today, right now, would you still be waiting?
no,
Right. Everybody's
We
waiting.
but I
refinanced
basically paid
3
cash
times.
for all my houses
But seriously,
except for one. But
Yeah.
3
Everybody's-
times in the
I
first
actually-
year we
I actually
refinanced.
saw one today that was you can take over their loan for 2.75.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
And that was a resale.
hey, you could take over my $1,400 loan for 1.3%. But
I think
Hey,
the
let me
thing
put
to
your
know-
house on the market.
Right. I think the thing to know right now about real estate is that because we're in a buyer's market, there is such ability to go negotiate, right? And
Right.
the deals are out
Definitely.
there. But more importantly, the inventory is out there. There are so many homes, over 14,000 homes for sale in Tampa Bay right now. So
Well,
and I think a lot of people got I think part of
you
that
can choose it. You
is-
can choose what you want.
I think part of it is people are giving up from the hurricane. I think
So
we're going to see waterfront.
people were battered.
People never thought this was going to happen. I bought my house knowing this would happen. My wife, different story. She goes, if it happens again, we're talking about it. I don't know that we're talking about it. She might
She
go
could just
move
come
somewhere
stay with
else,
us.
and
You
I'll
could-
She's
and
got
I'll
us.
and I'll do my own
We
thing.
have Chateau
and,
Stacy right over there.
We'll see each
okay,
other.
We talked about this earlier, and this is really important. The thing to do right now is buy in waterfront, right?
Right.
Because everybody doesn't want to buy. And what we're seeing, because I do buy and sell in waterfront areas, and I live in a waterfront area, there's a couple of things to know to do that smart right now. And one, we're seeing that the zip codes in the states outside of here, because everything's trackable now on who's viewing stuff on Zillow and Realtor.com and Homes.com. Outside of Florida is not as prevalent as it normally is.
Right.
This past year, buying in the flood zones, because that mindset of national news is, oh my God, Florida got hit so bad. But the reality is that we know where it got hit. We know what flooded and didn't flood. And yes, we had flooding happen here in Apollo Beach, but we know what flooded and what didn't flood. And there's plenty of things that did not flood in a flood zone. So what we saw was the shift became people in Florida were willing to buy and move to those waterfront communities because now they knew what flooded and didn't flood.
Well, and I think it's if you look at when we bought 25 years ago, I looked from Oriental, North Carolina. I was looking for sailboat water, right? I had my sailboat, and I was looking at sailboat water. So I looked from Oriental, North Carolina to Galveston Bay, and Apollo Beach kept popping up over and over again because sailboat water, powerboat water were the same price. Mirror Bay wasn't open, but it was quoting way under what you could actually buy a house for in Mirror Bay. From $235. Yeah, right. Like you could buy a waterfront house in 2002 for $235.
412 houses up for sale, or condos, or townhouses, pieces of real estate open in Apollo Beach.
Now, there is some good news though.
Now,
but the good news is that we do know what flooded and what didn't flood,
right?
And we know those that flooded, what it took for that to happen,
right?
And most of Apollo Beach, for the most part, was able to fit into the 50-50 rule of FEMA and rebuild where we were at.
Yep, I was $8. I was $8 under.
Thank God. And so I think the thing for buyers to understand right now is, look at Fort Myers and all these other places that have been hit before. They bounced back, right?
Yep.
So we will bounce back too. So
and you see all those houses being on stilts, and so you'll see. I think I looked at it, but due to the way that my finances were locked up at the time, I was not prepared. I have a HELOC. So I have about half the money available to rebuild my house, and a HELOC, which would cover about, 75, 80% cash without having to worry about insurance. So I could rebuild, get everything going just without insurance. Well, the bank locks the HELOC. So now I know if there's a storm coming, I'm taking my HELOC and throw it into savings. And then the day after, if there's nothing, I put it back.
Yeah. But the thing is that you thought about having a HELOC beforehand. A lot of people don't have that in place. Well, it's one of these things that you say to yourself.
And my wife's situation with being sick and no income, the house is in her name. So it was a matter of, well, could we refi and build a second story? And 6 months later, we could have done it, but I wanted to have the house done, and it wasn't an it was an overwhelming task, but it was not overwhelming. I think if people have any resolve at all, it's totally a workable thing like with Angie a couple of friends.
We know what didn't flood.
Right.
That's where you want to hang out. You want to be where it did.
Right. But even so, I think that the point about the market today is that we've been able to resolve through it. And
sure.
A lot of us were able to rebuild in the 50-50 over here. Now over at the beach is another story.
Right.
Thank
God for Hillsborough County versus Pinellas.
I still have a friend over in Treasure Island that is, sitting with the house not redone and not determined what they're going to do because they don't have a choice.
Right.
50-50 didn't work for them.
Yep. They're going to have to rebuild.
But I think the important thing is the values will come back. We're Florida. People always want to live as close to the water as possible. Yep. And people come to have their boat in their backyard.
And you weren't around in 2004, 2005, were you?
No, I moved
in the real estate thing. So the market tanked and then it skyrocketed again because in 2004, we had 4 hurricanes.
Right.
And even though it didn't affect us officially in this area, it affected Florida in general. So, we hadn't had a big hurricane for 10 years. And then, we're living here and it's like we have 4 in a row.
Our problem was last year we had 2 back-to-back
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
affected us. That
Well,
is a every 100-year kind of
but-
thing.
It
guys-
is. And for Tampa Bay, it has to be a certain type of storm.
Has to be a
and
direct
we can
hit.
get,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't. A direct hit does not affect
Actually, has
Tampa
to go
Bay.
north of us, 'cause
No,
the-
It has to
actually,
go
it has to
north
be
of
just
us.
north.
It's got
because the
it-
storm surge is what does
the
it.
storm
Not-
surge is our worst
Right.
nightmare, and Helene was that kind of bizarre turn and how it happened, and it trapped the water into the bay, and it had to do with how it went up and how it turned into doing that. If you have one that just comes into Cedar Key from out in the Gulf, it's not going to build that pressure up, but because it hung offshore, it built all that pressure up for when it
Right,
turned.
because think about it. Everybody thought Irma was going to destroy us.
No,
it
it went
was
right up
like
the
a
middle.
spring
And
I,
storm.
I'd like to
Skipped
give you
over
guys
it.
some news though as
But
But
I
it's
well.
Yeah.
nothing.
In about an hour and 10 minutes, the polls close up north.
Yeah. So what's going to happen in New York?
I've
So-
been watching.
So
Nothing is
that
coming in
that
yet.
being said, though,
Did you
every
see
day
those
is
ballots?
different. Every day is different in real estate, and if things go one way, you might see a huge wave of people saying, "You know what, we're
if
done."
certain people win, Angie and I will also win.
So I mean, there's a
In
couple of
return, though, up
things.
north, though, they're going to have one hell of a property dump.
So we're talking about South Shore here,
Right.
And what's happening for us, and these are the things that buyers and sellers need to think about right now. Is if you are a buyer, now is the time, right?
Yep.
And
A lot of choices too.
and you have a lot of choices, and if you are buying in a flood zone, now's the time to do it because the prices are down. But more importantly, you want to make sure that you ask the questions of that seller if their flood insurance can proxy forward. If they have a FEMA-backed policy and it can proxy forward, it can save you thousands of dollars every year on your flood insurance, which is really, really important. So I guess the biggest thing I want to get across is the negotiation power out there right now that people have. And
that's
I-
why you
I
want an
really-
agent.
yeah,
These people that think you can buy a house on your own. And by the way, I have bought and sold houses on my own.
Hire a professional.
But man, hire a professional, because the one time I've done it successfully, but the one time I did not,
it only takes once.
and I actually ended up doing it.
Do not go
okay.
into court without a lawyer. Do not go into
Yeah.
a builder
Clean your
without a
carpets.
realtor.
And I had
Have a
somebody play the
professional.
game thinking they were going to tie me up.
Good
and,
plug, Howard.
at a cheaper price. And I'm like, screw you. And
Gonna have brain surgery. Hire a brain
The other
surgeon.
thing is,
I think the important thing right now is that you want somebody who understands what you need, but also how to negotiate in this market, right?
yeah.
So I really would love
Agreed.
to
And the
change-
it's important with,
Yeah, you gotta
like the
understand the market.
seawalls.
I will
All
say
these
this.
houses in my neighborhood that don't have a new seawall, they're going to need a seawall
I
in
worked-
5 years. And
I
that's
will tell you this.
60, 70
I worked
grand.
for a builder, and here's the before I became a general realtor, like Angie. The builders don't change the price because you didn't have a realtor. You're not getting a better deal without a realtor. It's illegal for
Yeah.
them to give you a better deal because you don't have representation.
I mean, I would love to change the philosophy right now when everybody talks about, oh my gosh, rates are up, I'm waiting for rates, right?
Exactly.
And maybe it's my marketing background for 25 years before I went into real estate, but the
100%.
message should be right now is you can save 3 to 5% on purchasing that house right now because you're not going to pay closing costs. If you negotiate correctly on an existing home, or every single builder out there pretty much is covering your closing costs right now if you're doing new construction. And South Shore, we have a lot of new construction.
Tons.
So we obviously we have the deals that are happening, and I mean, my email blows up every day with builders, and right now they're already running their Black Friday deals.
Yep.
And
With or
you
without
have-
views of
100%.
Yeah.
Walmart.
and you have you have some builders that are offering 40, some that are offering $100,000 in incentives for you, so you can cover your closing costs. You can buy down your rate to a 3
Buy your pool.
for 30 years.
Wow.
You can do the upgrades you want.
Okay.
To do. You can take money off the price of the house. So the deals are out there. The interest rates are out there people want, but really the message should be go out and buy a house without closing costs right now, because that's going to save you 3 to 5%. coming down on the interest rate, another quarter point or another half a point might save you $50 or $100 a month, right? But saving closing costs of 3 to 5%.
That's huge.
If you're buying a $300,000 house, which around here
It's easy.
That's a cheap ass house
right,
these
right.
days.
So let's say you're buying a $500,000 house.
I was going
around
to say that's a
you know,
condo, maybe a townhouse.
Median
with,
house
you're
in
saving
America right now is
3%.
$427,000. When I got married to Joanne 30 years ago, it was $102,000.
You know,
Here's
so
the thing.
so
At the end of the day,
hang on.
no matter what you do, you only can negotiate the price of the house one time. That's it. You can renegotiate your interest rate as many times as you want to.
Yes.
Good
Yeah.
point.
And
And it's
one of the
never going to
things,
go back to 3%. That's gone. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
No,
It's like a
that
pandemic,
that
right?
was
On
a, that was a,
Free money.
an
but
anomaly.
the thing people don't realize this is I've spent a lot of time in other countries. Okay. And we were in, Switzerland and France and stuff this summer. And even at $500,000 for a house, that is immensely affordable compared to many, many countries.
Oh yeah.
And people
And
bitch,
what you get.
people bitch about, houses are so expensive and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, if you only knew,
That's because they pay 50% of their income back to their government.
yeah.
That's
And
socialism.
and houses in other countries, you're not touching anything for under $1 million.
99-year lease.
And a rent is, $5,000-6,000 a month. And people are bitching about $2,000 or $3,000.
they have
And you know what?
900
Go to
square
a cheap, there's nothing wrong. If it was me today and I was starting out, and I'm a bad example because I lived on a boat
You're a bad example.
for the
Tim.
first part of my life.
We're just talking about housing right
But I would live in a trailer. I would
mobile?
see I would see no problem at all
Tiny home.
living into a mobile, not a tiny home. I
A
lived on
bigger
a boat. I
a
lived on
bigger
a boat.
tiny
If
home,
it was
though.
a tiny home, I would go back to
Like
a
an
46
XL
foot
tiny
boat.
home.
I'm
I'll
looking-
be honest, I have several clients I've talked to that have said, I'm ready to just downsize into a trailer.
Oh, I do a mobile home tomorrow.
Or a motorhome.
I'm looking
There's
at
a lot of
Scotland.
fatigue,
and I'm
coming
looking
out of
at
the hurricanes
Italy.
and there's fatigue of insurance
Yeah.
and all those things. But I think the thing about real estate right now, though, is you just got to be smart about negotiating,
Yep.
right? Which is why you need an agent.
You need an agent.
And it's affordable if you can figure out how to negotiate correctly.
And you need an agent that has some balls.
Mhm.
And when we bought this house, it was funny. We had an agent, and I'm like, this is what, and we found the house. I said, this is what I want to offer. He's like, oh, you can't do that. And I'm like, no, I know I can buy this house at this amount. And they're like, it's too low, and here's why. And I'm like,
It's okay to offend somebody.
I'm fine with that. In the end, I fired that agent, hired another agent, said, this is what I want. He goes, oh, hell, that's Kent's listing. Let me make a call. I think they'll probably take that. 10 minutes later, they're like, hey, can you meet us at the house? And we'll drop the contract because they'll take that. And you have agents that aren't willing to go the distance for the clients. And
I think, Joanne, you said that too. A lot of these newer agents just are afraid to negotiate.
They
you
are.
know?
And it's
Well-
funny because that's what I train. I train new agents and you're there for your client. And you know what? Right. Sometimes they don't have a realistic expectation of what the market is. However, sometimes it never hurts to ask. I've said that to my own clients. Look,
You don't ask. You don't get.
Let me send a
Yeah.
text to the other agent and see if we're even remotely in the ballpark.
if you have a house that's been on the market for 6 months, and
That's normal.
that's normal,
know,
but
it's-
you got to look at the person and go, okay, why are they're moving? Because like I look at the house we bought on the lake, it'd been on the market for 6+ months. I knew through very little research that the guy had been relocated to England from Pillsbury. This was in Minneapolis, and luckily my wife's dad ran Pillsbury. So I knew that there was a buyout clause that if an offer came in below blah, 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 that if it was more than 120 days, Pillsbury would make up the difference. So I'm like, I'm making and I want to pay this for that house.
But you're lucky because most people don't know that information.
Yeah. So I think a couple
We have to
things.
go with realistic
but the agent
expectations.
should
That
should
agent has a
know
fiduciary responsibility to the seller to not tell their story to.
well on the
Um,
seller, but the buyer's agent.
The buyer's agent should be having a conversation with the seller's agent. Like I've said this, I'm sure you have. I've said, hey, this is where my client is. Are we remotely close?
Yeah.
Should I write up an offer?
So I mean, I talk all the time about keeping it real in real estate, right? And sometimes I'm way too honest about.
You're way
things.
too real. The other day I listened to one. I was like, "Damn, Angie."
I mean, listen. The last thing I want to do is set expectations that can't be met, right?
Right.
Or
Right.
make somebody think that they can get into a house that they can't, or sell for a price that they can't. And
Sure.
I've lost listings because of that. Because
Yes,
I
exactly.
used,
And it goes
I used
both
to be
ways.
on the mortgage side, and I taught
Yeah.
appraiser classes. And so I tell people all the time, I said, listen, we're not pricing for the market, we're pricing for an appraiser.
Exactly.
Because unless somebody walks in with cash, anybody can buy anything they want with cash. But if somebody needs lending, you got to get appraised. And if the
You need to find your
and if
wiggle
we're in a
room.
buyer's market that's like this, right? And if the appraisal comes in low, you think that buyer is going to come out with more money?
Nope.
And
No,
if they needed
absolutely not.
lending, they already had their debt to loan ratio run and everything else. They don't have another 20, 30, 10,000, whatever it's going to be to come out with cash, right? So
They're
you've
buying
got-
the most they
you've
possibly
got to
can.
price for an appraiser.
So
And that's
guys,
it.
I have a
We are not
question.
pricing-
Yeah, go ahead, Julie.
If I put my house on the market, right, with you
Call me.
guys, how well I'm not, but I will. Well, how long
Damn.
is it sitting if I want to sell it? Like, is it 6 months?
I just sold one in 5 days.
It
I
depends.
just had another listing that sold in 12 hours.
Because like my
Um,
neighbor,
I have another listing that's
And
sitting
I
for
said-
10 months.
Honestly, it's Julie, can you hear us?
I can
Just
hear you
playing-
now. I don't know what
Okay.
happened.
Oh, you're back.
So I think a couple of things. One, it depends on the desirability of what you're selling and what you have, right? If
And
it's
pricing,
super-
of course, if
or
I
if
priced it too high.
right. And if there's a 10 of the same thing on the
This camera
market,
dropped out.
you also have to worry about new construction
okay.
near you, right? So if you have new construction that's happening. So this just happened to me the other day to a friend of ours that we both know dearly. And they called me to list their house in Ruskin. And I helped them buy it 3 years ago. So I know what they bought it for. They've put money into it. And I said, well, you can sell it for about $10,000 more than what you bought it for. And I know you put $30,000 into it. And I said, so really, honestly, you're upside down. And here's why. Because here's what has sold. That's what an appraiser is going to use. Because it doesn't matter anything other than sold comps. Has to be sold. Not pending, not active on market. And then down the street, not a few blocks away, you have DR Horton with a brand new neighborhood that's running 1.99 interest rate on an ARM or a 3.99 fixed for 30 years.
And it's brand
And
new.
it's brand new. Insurance is going to be cheaper. They can pick out what they want.
The warranty, yeah.
So, you know,
Warranty. That's
I
the
tell
thing.
sellers all the time, if you're selling your home, you have to think like a buyer.
Yep.
And you have to think about what are buyers, what's my competition? What are the buyers looking for out there? Why is my house going to be next?
Can I
And
throw
your
my
house
Give
is next
them
for
a
2 reasons
warranty.
only. There's only 2 reasons your house is the next one sold,
Angie,
and that's condition or price.
Yep.
what about someone who like has a house that they got for like $200K, and then they can't live unless they sell it for $959,000, and they want all the money? What do you do when you have a person that wants
They're
all the
not
money?
my listing. Are they your listing? Because they're not my listing.
Well, I mean, it depends what the comps are, right? So, like I said, I keep it real in real estate. So I'm going to run the comps. I'm going to show them real numbers. I say all the time, it's my job to bring the numbers, and I'll show you the actual numbers that are available to your home. It's your job to bring the emotion. I don't bring emotion to the table. I
Nope.
bring the facts and I bring the numbers.
I
And if your emotion is that that's what you have to have in order to sell, then I would say, why are you selling? You know, everybody has a purpose on why they're selling.
I would rather
but-
somebody be honest about that than for me to
Mm-hmm.
have my house sit. And I've had this happen, sit for months because they said
Sure.
they could get me the price that I want.
That's the thing. Angie and
Yeah,
I
a lot of
think
people
very-
get bought on I'll get you the price. And I feel
Oh,
so
man.
bad
I think-
for them.
I think Angie and I
do
are a
that.
lot alike. We're there to hold on to your wallet while you get emotional. You can be as emotional as you want. We're business oriented people.
but let
It's
me-
all business.
Right, but let me remind you, there's nobody that wants to make you more money on your house than the person listing your house.
Sure.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
we make a commission,
Yeah.
that's a percentage,
Uh-huh.
right? And I tell people that all the time. I said, it's not that I want to list your house lower. Of course, I want to list your house higher. I want to make as much money for you as I possibly can. That's my job.
Definitely.
It's my job to find value in your house, which is why I don't ever price a house before I go see it. I have to see it. I have to see what's in it. I have to see what you've done to it, what the
Condition.
conditions of it are.
Might
has
need a
work
cle-
been permitted or not?
Might need a
You know, all
cleaning.
those things.
Yep.
I
Um,
literally just saw that today. The reason a house was taken off the market was because they found out the work was unpermitted and they had to figure out how they were going to sell
Wow.
it with unpermitted work.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that.
There's
now,
a lot of
post,
that.
Post the hurricanes and stuff is there's a lot of stuff unpermitted. Well, then what happens? You can't get an FHA loan or a VA loan against that.
Cash
So
only.
We're seeing a lot of houses going into cash.
Luckily, I
only.
didn't have to do
Right.
my front door because
Right.
the original, that was actually the only thing I would have had to officially permit as my own GC
Really?
Yeah,
was
so
that front door.
I just told somebody that we're not going to get the value. You can sit on the market, but I don't
Yeah.
want you to do that. It just makes us all look bad. So
Right.
I would tell you rent it for a year or two. And luckily, I know that they're in the market to rent homes. So we turned that one into a rental. I had another couple come to me a year ago and said, we want to downsize and buy a villa in a CDD community for different lifestyle and all of that.
Sounds good.
And I said, it sounds great, except you're not actually saving any money. Because I'm the person who's gonna run
Totally
the
lateral
numbers.
move.
Right. I'm the person who's going to run the numbers on what you're wanting to buy and what you're currently at and show you the difference, right? Because there's closing costs involved in
Oh,
that
yeah.
and all those things. And people
Definitely.
forget about that. And I said, you should probably just stay where you're at and get a pool boy to come in, guy, woman, whatever you want to hire.
I agree
Um,
with you 100%.
and,
I'll take a
at
pool
the end of the
check.
day. So, but a year later, just recently, they called me and said, "Hey, life changes, and we really need to sell the house. Unfortunately, there's some illness, and he wants to sell the house so that he can make sure that she's in fixed amount per month in a rental and get her exactly where she needs to be." And I said, "Okay." And they said, well, "We really don't want to make another mortgage payment." And I was like, "Well, then we really got to look at how's your house condition? How do we compare to the other ones out there, and price, right?" And so
100%.
we really went, sat down and really talked about it. And I said, I can't guarantee anything. But what I can guarantee you is if I have a buyer in this neighborhood looking, this is why I would say you would be next, right? And this is where we're going to have to price it to do that.
Sure.
We
Well,
went under
thanks,
contract
Collie.
in 5 days. We closed in 27 days with
Nice.
not a cash, with getting a person having a loan. And they didn't make another mortgage payment, right? But it takes knowing what else is out there and pricing it correctly. And most people, to be honest, they saw a number 2 or 3 years ago. And when you tell them that price today, they're like, but they already had something in their head. Or Zillow has
Mhm.
told them
Oh.
this estimate, right? And
So the house 4
Oh,
doors down
God.
from me on Jekyll Island just listed on Zillow for 3.7 million. And I can like picture my sister jumping up and down going, "Oh, we're rich. We're rich." I'm like, "No, we're not." I go, because
Zillow
it's
got their own-
it's I don't know where that's coming from, but the market is still about 1.4 on the ultra high side, and we are decorated in early American college dormitory estate sale.
Here's what I will
and-
tell you
and-
about Zillow. They got their own owner's estimate wrong.
Yeah,
by $1
yeah,
million.
yeah, that's-
$1 million.
well, and remember
not
the
like
they.
5,000.
Remember
a
the
million.
they that got it wrong is a computer,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so
Welcome to AI.
I
It's a
just
computer
had-
system.
I just walked in to get food the other night. I was out and didn't want to cook. And I walked in a restaurant locally, and the guy said, "Hey, will you talk to me about my house?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And we were talking. He said, "Well, this estimate says it's this." And I said, "Well, sir, I need you to remember this estimate was created by a computer that has no idea the condition of your home, the condition of the homes around it, the money you've put into your home. It is a computer generated algorithm. So if I can say anything is don't believe in a computer, right?
Right.
It doesn't have any clue
Well,
about what your house is versus your next door neighbor,
and-
especially if you're not in a planned community.
And I'm amazed at the people that think, well, geez, I upgraded my windows. Okay.
That's great.
That's
Yay.
great, but it doesn't add, you can
Any
put in the
value.
super, it doesn't change the value of the house because you have the Anderson thermo,
Yeah.
whatever windows.
Unless they're
just-
hurricane proof and you happen to be on the water.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
And that, but outside of it, this stuff doesn't play in. I mean, you've been in my house, right? And whether you came in before the remodel or after the
I've
remodel,
been there, Bo.
we have an average house. And I remodel it with the concept that it's an average house with, my countertop is awesome, but
it is awesome.
but I'm not going with these people that put in 140 grand on their kitchen remodel and think they're getting 140 grand more when
There's
you
no
can do a
kitchen
45,000.
worth 140.
Well,
It's
again,
crazy,
like,
but we're
cars.
way
We
over time.
talked about
Yeah.
cars like that too. Cars are the same way. You get a base model and you get a super model, and 5 years later, what's important? Condition of the car, how many miles on it, does it work? This one's got leather, this one doesn't. But you know what? Which one do you want? The one with 95,000 miles? You want the one with 35,000 miles? I'll take the one with 35,000. It's the
that's
same
what
No,
they're
car.
doing.
no,
They're
I want the
spending their money.
95,000
No way.
because it's been better maintained and
No
they've
way.
already replaced the rubber and the shocks and all the other
I
stuff.
will
but
say this though.
Teo's
to your
about the
point,
rubber.
and I
it is.
Always.
I'm all about rubbers.
We're all about the rubber.
He is.
Wrap that rascal.
right. Make sure. Amen. I got a calendar.
I wanted
God
to mention.
bless it.
I wanted
All
to
I care
mention
about.
was Toys for Tots. You wanted?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
two
let's
thi-
do Toys for
two
Tots.
really quick things. One, to your point, people can overdo it, right?
Yeah.
And I call that personal preference, and it's the hardest conversations.
Check out my
that
cedar
us
closet.
Realtors have to have.
That's great.
Is
Nobody
when we
cares.
sit down and say, and they're like, "But I put money." And I've had people lay out their receipts and go, "Here's everything I did." I'm like, "That's great," but an appraiser doesn't care.
Nope.
Yeah, the
There's a-
appraiser does not.
There are only
care.
certain things that an appraiser is going to give you value.
And
for.
actually, it can hurt you if it's too personal.
yeah.
That,
and
that's
so
a problem. My
it is
mom
a-
does her stuff
it's
for
a
my
tough
mom,
conversation.
and my mom's like, "Oh, my house is nicer." For you, it's nicer, but you got to find that buyer
That likes your
that likes
taste.
your
Likes your
taste. And I'll
taste.
tell you, there's exactly 4 of those people in the whole fucking country.
I mean, I got my window over here.
And they
Yeah,
have
you
to
can-
want to pay cash.
You can
Because
absolutely
not
go
everybody
over-
wants wall-to-wall carpet.
And
Okay.
Disney.
And a lot of people
Yeah.
put in things, and it might not be what else they want. True story. My ex-in-laws upgraded every single thing to go on the market in Nevada, and the day after closing, the young couple came in and gutted the house.
That's what we did. That's
all
what
the
we did.
countertops were gone.
Our
all
house
the
got
flooring was
gutted.
gone. Everything, right? So, the reality is, you can over upgrade. Appraisers aren't going to give you all the value, which I would tell you. The lesson in that is talk to a real estate agent. I just did this for someone and did a walkthrough, and they said, "What should we do?" Because they're planning on selling in 2 or 3 years, and now is the time to have those conversations. And I told them, I said,
Absolutely.
people buy homes for kitchens, bathrooms, and outdoor living space.
Take down your
Um,
personal crap and just upgrade.
That's
But
what.
if
That's
you're
what.
gonna, if you're going to make upgrades, make sure they make it sense.
I don't
and-
think
They
people
should be
ask
upgrades.
the industry experts. I think they just do stuff and they don't think about asking about these things
Right.
and just
Right.
get an
Correct.
opinion. I had somebody that went and they took their entire savings and they renovated a brand new house that they already overspent on. And
Oh no.
New
they
chandeliers and
they
new
can't
walls.
resell it. And you're
No, they
gonna go, it just blows my mind, the
Personal
stuff that we
preference
hear.
doesn't make you money.
Do you remember
No.
that show
It
Pimp My
actually
Ride?
can lose you.
Yes, that was an
Most of
awesome
those-
show.
Most of those cars didn't really work very good after
No.
4 months.
The
But it
one
was-
By the way, that chandelier your grandmother gave you, nobody wants
Nobody
it.
wants
Right.
it.
Nobody.
So we're gonna talk about Toys for
it is-
Tots.
It is personal preference can kill the budget for sure. Yeah. So I just wanted to bring up that Century 21 Beggins here in Apollo Beach is the headquarters for Toys for Tots of all of Hillsborough County. We're really excited about that. We just got the boxes in this week, and we are looking for.
Do we want a box here?
Yeah, let's bring it.
we could
should-
do a box in
We
the
have
house.
people coming in
Yeah.
town.
By the way, are you still doing bikes?
Yes.
Because I know you guys do
Yes.
bikes.
Yeah. So we're always looking for donations for bikes.
Can
It's
you
one of
bring
the-
us a box next time?
Yes, I will absolutely bring you a box.
All right.
is it
So
brand new
Yeah.
bikes, Angie, and what kind? Like
All bikes from toddlers all the way up to adult size.
Oh, we should go
Um,
get bikes. Howard.
And now's a great time to buy them before
Mhm.
Christmas.
don't
we're-
buy them on Timo.
We're always looking
on
for
the flea
bikes.
market.
The Marines always tell us the number one thing asked at Christmas time is for bikes, and they have the hardest time getting them. So I can say there are several agents in my office. For every closing that they do during the year, they donate 1 bike per closing.
Wow.
And John Evans, one of our realtors, he pulls up every year with like 13, 14, 15 bikes strapped to his truck and unloads them. It's really awesome to see. We had over 200 bikes last year lined up in our front parking lot. But what we're looking for right now are local businesses that are willing to have a Toys for Tots box in your local business.
And who would that be? South Shore Cleaning and Supply.
Absolutely.
And we'll do it for you too.
So what I will say is, if anybody does a 1-year ad with Tampa Bay Sports Entertainment, we will donate 1 bike for every ad
I love you.
placed in the magazine.
In Angie's
you
name.
place an ad in the magazine, I will go out and I will buy a bike for that.
There you
ad.
go.
There you go. And that's the greatest thing too, because I came from a marketing background. This is a great cause. It goes directly to the Marines to help the families in need. And we know that. And we actually fill their semi truck in our Century 21 office parking lot when all the boxes come in, and we turn everything over to them and then they take care of it. So it's going to the right spot. So anywhere in Hillsborough County, not just here in Apollo Beach, we can get the boxes out to you. Please give me a call. I can get them delivered for you. But the greatest thing too is that
Angie, what's your
use
phone number if they want to get a box?
630-336-0401. And my website, if you need to get a hold of me, is angierichisson.com. So it's ANGIERICHISON. And I'm happy to deliver the boxes for you. We'll come pick them up from you. But as a business, you can use that as an incentive over the next month to be able to say, come in and donate a toy and get X off or get a coupon or something like that. So, and then people who do a box through me, I go out and do an event at your location at least once and go Facebook Live and do a promotion and promote it.
Then you have to come back here and do a promotion here for the show.
I'll always come back and see you guys.
Well, you're coming back next week as well. We have a brand new shirt. The Good Morning. Don't be a shitty person.
I need a shirt. Size
You
small.
got
I'll
it.
be a shitty person today or tomorrow.
Or tomorrow.
Another
And
good
another
vibes.
logo.
Oh, the good vibes.
Good guys. I should have put the Buccaneer on the top. I might.
Jimmy
But-
Buffett Jr.
but
man.
there you
It
go,
should
right
be my
there.
picture
Look
on
at
the
it. It
good
looks like
vibes.
Howard.
Let's do
I
it.
know it does look like
Let's
that.
let's
Looks
make a
like the
matching one
crazy
for
Buccaneer
you.
We should be
Salt
a
and
good-
pepper.
Yeah, good
So,
good
again,
good vibes.
If
Julie, you need
anybody
one.
out there
I
has
need a small.
small business and they
You
want
got
to
it.
do a 1-year ad, it's only $1,200 for the year, the whole year. It's only $1,200. I will donate 1 bike for every ad.
I think South
Cool.
Shore is in for a bike. The boys do a good job. They're good for the
I'm
community.
in for a few with my car show. I'm going to do the car show. My stuff's going over.
That being
there.
said, hopefully
They
everyone will
fill
have
the
a
same
great
truck.
week.
So anywhere you
Yep.
see a Toys for Tots box.
We-
So thank you. That's my joy bucket that I fill every year.
Cool.
It's really important to me. So
Hey, it's great to have everybody on here. We went way over time. We had
Absolutely.
a lot
But
of
that's
fun. It
okay.
was
We
just
had
a
a great
community.
time.
It was a good fireside chat.
We need to do it more often.
Well,
Yes.
you're coming back next week.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. There's more often. Good night,
Cool.
everybody, from Howard the Unknown Drummer.
Julie, thanks for all your insight.
Thank
Julie,
you
you rock,
guys.
man.
Appreciate
Next time
you.
I'll be there in
Always a
person.
good time.
And buy a house.
There
Yeah.
you go. And
Spend-
I just as we
Stop
wrap up, I
spending
want to
and
remind
invest.
everybody. Oh, go ahead.
I said stop spending and invest.
Exactly. Live within
Definitely.
your means. There's the whole. I don't understand the keeping up with the Joneses concept. I've always been my own person, so
I have always lived
I-
30% below my means and made sure my bills got paid first. That
Yeah.
was it.
yep.
That's it. I'm a credit card's worst nightmare. I spend every week. I pay back
We
every
pay it
week.
all off.
Yep.
Points me, please.
Yeah.
Bam.
So thanks everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Julia.
Bye,
Thanks, Angie,
guys.
for being on
Thanks
here.
for having me, guys.
Let's all get
you.
along.
You got it.